Well, good evening. We really want to thank you all for joining us for this high school prospective parent webinar. We're excited to share with you about the many wonderful opportunities that are available to students in our high schools. Gracias por venir. Si necesitas traducir, Cindy Batista está aquí para interpretar. Cindy, do you want to do that better than me, that welcome in Spanish, and we'll put the interpretation on and give directions on how to do that? We need you, have you unmute. I'm sorry.
There you go. Bienvenidos todos a las familias de las escuelas para preparatorias. Aquí voy a estar para si necesitan alguien para traducir.
I'm going to go ahead and push the interpretation button and get it started. Okay, so Cindy, I think, has it gotten started for you? Okay, it looks like it's working. All right, so I want to introduce our panel. Actually, I'm gonna pass it to Sam Rollins, who is our Chief of Communication, and have him introduce our panel and get us started this evening.
Thank you, Chris. That was Chris Monroe, our district superintendent. Yeah, what do you think? Should we go down and let everyone say hi and introduce themselves really quick? All right, I'm gonna kind of go from where my screen is. So under Chris is Amariah Hernandez.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Amariah Hernandez, and I'm the principal at Harbor High School. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Amariah. Right next to Amariah on my screen is Casey Denning.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Casey Denning. I'm the principal at Santa Cruz High and appreciate you all joining us.
All right, and just below Casey is Dorothy.
Good evening. My name is Dorothy Coito, and I am Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services. Welcome.
And we are not short of Casey's today. We have another for you.
Good evening. My name is Casey O'Brien, also known as Casey number 2. I am the Director of Student Services in Santa Cruz City Schools.
Cindy Batista already introduced herself to some extent, but she is a district employee doing translation for us, and thank you so much, Cindy. I wasn't sure if she could still talk on both of these. So, and then last but not least is Julia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Hodges, and I'm the principal of Soquel.
All right, wonderful. Thanks so much to our panelists for being with us here today to answer everybody's questions. And with that, I'm gonna make a request to the administrator to share my screen.
Sam, can we also let folks know that questions, please go ahead and ask questions along the way, and we'll answer in the chat if we can, and we'll answer at the end for those we don't get to.
Absolutely, and right you are. That was part of my sort of pattern going forward, but it's good to start out with that, I think. Okay, so a big thank you to everyone who is here with us. Obviously, we know that it is both very exciting, but potentially nerve-wracking to contemplate high school starting next year. So we want to make it as manageable as possible. Thanks for giving us a bit of your time to help in that effort. As Chris mentioned, at any time, you can be putting your questions into the chat, into the Q&A. We're going to have a Q&A period at the end, but all these panelists have such a wealth of knowledge about high school that anything that you ask, they'll probably be answering on the fly while I'm kind of delivering the rest of the information. The other thing that I want people to know is that I will be pausing at times so that Cindy has a chance to catch up with me, because it's not easy to do in-person translation, and so that the Spanish slides get a fair amount of time as well. But we're going to go pretty quick today because we want to maximize the time for Q&A. High school is such an exciting threshold to be on. It's a time when students are really starting to explore potential futures and seizing a lot of opportunity. So we think that they need guidance, support, and high expectations as they interact with all the opportunities available to them. We're going to be telling you about some of those opportunities and the supports available on our campuses so that you and your student will have a good understanding of both what to expect and how to get the most out of everything from day one. Every time we have a public meeting, we like to start with this. These are our goals and our values as a district. I'm not going to read through every single one of them right now. We will be sending these slides out and posting them on our website when we're done, so you can read through them. But the short version is that we believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to excel and explore their highest potential, and it's our responsibility to give everyone that chance at their best start, because we also believe that every success makes our community and our society stronger. So we're here to create that success. And these were put together in sort of collaboration between our board, our staff, even family input, kind of to get our basic goals and values that we all work from here at Santa Cruz City Schools. So every time I go to a high school campus, I'm struck by this feeling that it's really like a small city. It has so many sides and there's so much going on. So there's going to be kind of a theme to our presentation here today, which is really just to encourage you to encourage your student to try things out. There's such a wealth of opportunities, and there's so much growth that happens even outside the classroom in a high school. And we really want to both celebrate that, but make sure that you're aware at the outset of all that there is so that you can make the most of those opportunities and that your student can too. As they jump in and try new things, they're learning about what they're good at, but also what they want to be good at. And that's a big part of the high school experience. And when I say high school experience, I want to clarify that what I'm going to be talking about primarily, what we're going to be talking about is our 3 comprehensive high schools. There's lots of things that make these high schools unique and wonderful places, but we're largely going to be talking about what is common across the board in our district. Those high schools, of course, are Harbor High in Midtown, SoCal High in the SoCal Town Center, and then Santa Cruz High in downtown Santa Cruz. They all have a similar student body at all of these high schools. And so far, we've usually been able to honor everyone's sort of school of choice. There's a certain amount of transfers that happen in the district, and we can normally accommodate all of those because they tend to fall pretty equally across the 3 high schools. I would just advise everyone who's interested in going that route to enroll right when we open the window so that we can understand what our requests are. And then see, there's a moment where I'll pause to make sure that Cindy has a moment to catch up. We also want to make sure that everyone knows that our comprehensive high schools are not our only path to graduation, to college and career. We are really happy to be able to have alternative programs as well that we can offer to high school students, starting with AFE, Alternative Family Education, which is a homeschool program but is supported by credentialed teachers who work with families to create curriculum that fits best to the student. It's very customizable. The other interesting thing about AFE is we actually have enrichment classes all week where students can come together with peers and learn in a cohort, even though they're primarily learning from home. There's also ARC Independent Studies, which is even more self-directed and managed. An ARC student is expected to complete about 20 hours of work per week, but it's very flexible and driven by the student. And then we also have our college prep high school, Costa Noa. which has a lower graduation requirement in terms of units and a lower weekly commitment. A lot of students in Costa Noa are working as well. But Costa Noa Career Prep is also a place where students can do a lot of job shadowing. They can learn a lot about different professional workplaces so that they can really be developing their career path while they're in high school. And if anyone is interested to learn more about any of these alternative programs, I put the link on this slide for small schools. They're at the Branciforte Small Schools campus, so you can always Google that as well, and you'll be able to find your way to the alternative programs. Okay, so what we're here to cover with our comprehensive high schools, to go back to those, is our college prep academic program, our career technical education programs that we really want families to know about as they're heading into to high school, what academic supports there are and how to access them while you're in high school, the enrichment and extracurricular opportunities that your student will be able to access when they start in high school. We also wanted to talk about the leadership opportunities available to students, both at the school and in the district. We'll cover some of the opportunities that students have to be recognized outside even the school community for their achievements while they're in high school. We'll cover our social, emotional, and mental health supports that are available on campus. We'll talk about the connection opportunities and the diversity of perspectives that exist at a public school, and then give a school safety overview. And then I realize that it's not on this bullet list. We'll also talk a very little bit about how parents can be involved in many different levels at their high school campus. So all of our courses are college prep courses, and we want to make sure that everyone understands what we mean by that. We do not assume that everyone's picture of success includes college necessarily, but we very much believe that it is our responsibility to ensure that everyone has that as an open option when they finish high school. So our courses are college prep courses, aside from a few specific support courses. All of our teachers are credentialed and have experience in their subject area. There is the rare occasion that someone working toward their credential is able to start teaching early, but that doesn't happen that often. It's usually a pretty exceptional teacher. And that all students have access to advanced placement and or international baccalaureate courses in a wide variety of subjects. We put some of them here, but that is, any school that you're at, that's an option for your students if they're interested. We support students working toward the California State Seal of Biliteracy. We also have our own seal of biliteracy that's a bit more rigorous that we have available to students and support them towards. We offer dual enrollment with Cabrillo College, which gives students the opportunity to explore that wider set of courses, but also begin to explore the college environment as well while they're still in high school. And then we do have our credit articulation with local higher education institutions, Cabrillo, CSU, MB, San Jose State, and UCSC. There's also opportunities throughout the year where representatives from these schools and others will be coming to campus and giving kids that through line from high school to college. And that's when I have to apologize to Cindy because I should have switched that about halfway through. And so we also, every year, we like to celebrate our graduates. This is the class of 2025 and where they have gone. I was mentioning as I was putting this list together, we didn't have more college acceptances in this last year, but they're a wider variety. There's more names on this list than normal. I'm not quite sure why, but it's usually pretty common that you see this kind of distribution, that our graduates are finding success both in UC and CSU systems, public universities across the country, private universities across the country, often across the world, and then trade schools as well. And yeah, we're incredibly gratified and happy that our graduates have such a wide range of success and regularly access the highest educational institutions in the world. We also want to show this number so that parents are aware of just how much money in scholarships is available for students. This last year, it was just shy of $2 million that the graduating class was awarded in scholarships. Huge gratitude and thanks to our counseling offices as well for the incredible work that they put in to doing that. But again, we show that number to just make sure that people realize how viable that is, how many scholarships are available, and to see that as an option as you're putting together your plan for college. So we also wanted parents to be aware of our career technical education program, call it CTE. And these are classes where students can learn from industry professionals to get hands-on real-world job skills. The nice thing about this is these are all nearly also college prep courses. So students can kind of do both at once and explore both pathways at once. There's a big list of classes here that you can see. These aren't all of our CTE courses, but it's everything from biotechnology to auto technology, sustainable agriculture, woodworking, welding, the medical pathways. My phone's blocking some of them. SET are extremely popular. It's a great way to get hands-on experience and to explore what you might be interested in on the career level while you are still engaged in college prep courses. We've also found, again, this is something that we want parents to know, that participation in CTE boosts graduation rates statistically, and not only boosts college acceptance rates, but what's called college persistence rates, meaning they're more likely to stay in college once they get there. And the other reason that we're so happy to be able to offer these, and we really want people to explore them and utilize these opportunities, is that we know that there's a wide variety of learners out there, and they thrive in different ways and in different contexts. One thing that one of our CTE teachers said that I always think about is how a CTE course connects the heart, the head, and the hands, that it gives knowledge sort of a space to be experienced, but also understood in terms of its context, right? Why is this important? Why is this? How does this fit into the world around me, which is incredibly valuable in allowing students to connect to it. The other great thing about CTE courses is whatever CTE course you take, you will experience building a resume, putting together a portfolio of work, and in most cases, even practice interviews, job interviews, and that sort of thing, so that students can have that understanding and that experience as well. And then obviously we have a number of academic supports that are available on campus. We do want to point out that the goal of all of our academic supports is to teach self-reliance, right? The supports that work best are the ones that are no longer needed after a certain period of time. So that's our goal in supporting students. I did want to call out the fact that a lot of these are going to be organized on campus by someone called an RTI coordinator. There's a lot of acronyms already that we've thrown at you, but this is kind of a teacher support teacher resource who helps customize supports around students. What do those supports look like? All students will have access to academic tutoring. They'll also have access to peer tutoring, which I'll talk more about in just a second. We have a growing set of supports for English learners and special education students. And then all students will have access to support courses, but then also interventions throughout and after the school day. And interventions usually is just what we call opportunities for a student to be working more one-on-one with a staff member to be supported in an area where they need the extra support. And that's one that I should have switched a little bit earlier. I said that I would talk a little bit more about peer tutoring, and that's a program that we're excited about because we find that often students who are learning something from someone who has only recently mastered it will sometimes have an easier time engaging with an area where they're a little bit less confident. And we find, and so they find more success in kind of gaining confidence in a particular subject area. We also find that the tutors not only master the area more thoroughly while they're teaching it, but they gain a lot of wonderful leadership, communication, and interpersonal experience as well. And it's a job. If someone makes it into the program, we train them, we even pay them so that they're really getting a win-win in terms of building their understanding of the curriculum, a whole other wide range of skill sets, and are paid for their work as well. So we also wanted to briefly discuss safety, because obviously no student can thrive or learn if they are not both. They need to be mentally, emotionally, and physically safe. They also need to feel mentally, emotionally, and physically safe at the same time. So we invest a lot of time and training into connectedness and relationships on campus, largely because of the extensive data collected by the Secret Service on school safety that has shown connectedness and relationships to be the most significant factor in student safety. So our staff is trained in making connections and helping students build relationships to their school and to their peers. We also support that with events and activities, obviously, throughout the year. But our students are also all supported by mental and emotional health resources, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a bit. And of course, our staff are trained for crisis and crisis response with first responders throughout the county. All of our schools also have, it says installing, they should be up and running now, smart locking systems on our doors that only allow access to people with the appropriate key cards, and also give anyone the ability to lock down a room at any time. And our students and our families, we want you to know about this, will have access to an anonymous tip and alert application. At our schools, we have posters up that with QR codes and links that show students where to go if they need to tell us anything, if there's anything that we need to know. You'll be able to find this on your school website. In a number of the menus, you should be able to see something at the bottom of a number of menus that say report a concern. And that is a monitored inbox, essentially, so that if anything in there is urgent, we are notified directly. And it's a way for anyone and everyone to let us know anything that we need to know about. And that's another one that I should have switched earlier. So apologies to Cindy. Oh, did Julia mean to raise your hand? That may have been a mistake. So we're incredibly happy to have counseling offices that both cover comprehensive college and career counseling and help with applications and scholarships, but also provide mental health services. So we were really thrilled and grateful to be able to add mental health counselors, licensed therapists, to all of our secondary, middle, and high school sites during COVID. We've worked really hard to retain those resources because of the impact that they have had. So all students have access to licensed counselors. We offer this counseling. We try to make sure that students know that it is available to them. And our mental health teams, which is usually our social emotional counselor, then usually there are some social work interns and school psychologists who work with them as well. They hold events throughout the year. They provide outreach on campus so that students know that these resources are available to them. We do every year a social emotional health survey that we run in cooperation with the University of California, Santa Barbara. That gives us a good understanding of what the mental health picture looks like on our campuses, but also helps us to identify anyone who may be in distress. And then the counseling offices also collaborate with staff to make sure that everyone understands the markers of distress so that people can be referred if necessary. Should also point out students can refer each other, right? If it's like, I'm worried about my friend, they've really stressed out lately, they can refer a friend. And what we've done recently is consolidate all of these resources into what we're calling wellness centers on campus. So these are spaces where you'll always find the mental health counselor, like I said, there's often social work interns and school psychologists in there as well. But there are also spaces where a student can go if they just need to calm down, have some alone time, a break for themselves. There's all kinds of resources in the wellness center that allows students to help self-regulate, but also access the many resources that we partner with out throughout the community. And so those are sort of hubs that students can always go to when they are in need. And when I say in need, I really want to make the point to families that that's everything from crisis to having a difficult week with your peers or having stress for an upcoming test, whatever it is. We really encourage you to encourage your student to utilize these services and reach out because we've really seen them be very impactful. Okay, so one of the advantages of the big, public comprehensive is the incredibly wide variety of extracurriculars and activities that are available to students. And at this point, we really want to thank our community for the longstanding parcel taxes that they have contributed to local schools. These parcel taxes were made permanent in 2020 under the names T and U. But it may surprise you to know that schools are not given much state or federal funding to fund all of these wonderful enrichments and opportunities. So I'm incredibly grateful for that and for, I didn't write it down, but I think it's Prop 28 in California, which allowed us to expand a lot of our fine and performing arts as well. And for this, I really just want to make the point, no one ever leaves high school and says, man, I tried too many things. I really did too much. They tend to say the opposite. So we really like to encourage families and students to just kind of try things out and get going. There's a huge amount of social emotional development and learning that happens when you're on a team, in a cast, in a band, or just even in a club, finding people with closely shared interests with you. It's a wide array of opportunities. Like I said, when I go to a high school campus, I'm kind of blown away that there's so much more seemingly than when I was there. And we really just want to help any way we can for you to explore these things, to see what your student might be interested in, and to jump and give it a go. Yeah, again, your student is in the business of getting to know themselves, and nothing is going to teach them that better than the kind of striving, effort, and both success and failure that they're going to experience, on the field, on stage. We can't stress enough how valuable these things are. And, whether your student is, introverted and interested in, maybe visual arts or something like that, or very extroverted, there's going to be something that is waiting to become their favorite thing. And so I don't know why we keep saying this, but just, push to try it and try it and try it. Okay. We also wanted parents to know about the leadership opportunities that are available for all students. We don't want anyone to go through high school thinking or not knowing about what's available. So all of our campuses have an associated student body, an ASB, which gives students both a voice in their school, but also a direct hand in kind of creating the culture and atmosphere of their community. We actually have trustee seats on our school board for students. Each high school has a representative each year that gives students the opportunity to be in those conversations and be a voice on the school board. We also, and if anyone on this call is a current middle school parent of our district, we want you to know too, that our Superintendent Student Advisory Council meets on the first Monday of every month at Harbor High at 4 p.m. in the library. It's an opportunity for students to sit down directly with the superintendent and ask any question that they have, make any suggestion that they have, and just have that kind of direct impact on their district. All of our high schools also have something that they call Link Crew, which gives students the opportunity to mentor incoming students, which is a great leadership opportunity for them. Peer tutoring, as I mentioned, gives students the opportunity to gain teaching experience, but also interpersonal skills, speaking skills, and to build confidence. Students really have a lot of opportunities to lead amongst their peers at in their clubs or on their teams as well. And then all of our high schools also have diverse opportunities to lead in service learning and community service, and opportunities to get involved in the wider community and affect the wider community as well. And as before, I want to apologize to Cindy for moving fast. We also just wanted to make the point that the other thing that happens at a public school is the rich diversity of perspectives and experiences that exist at the school. And so diversity can mean so many different things, and it's an overused word maybe, because it can mean ethnic diversity, cultural diversity, socioeconomic diversity. But what we really believe is that and what we love is that in a public school, every classroom is really full of a diversity of perspectives of all kinds of different values and backgrounds and interests. But that this is really good for developing minds, that kind of variety drives not only faster development as people have to learn about differences and about everyone who's in their community, it also strengthens students' connections with their community, their society, and their world in general. And it's something that we're proud of on our school campuses. I should have shifted halfway through that. We also want to make sure that people are aware that there's lots of opportunities for your student to see their excellence recognized outside their school community. We think that's a huge confidence builder. We have student artwork, which is regularly featured in local galleries and wins awards at the county, even the state level. Our music programs at all of our schools earn recognitions every year for excellence. They have the opportunity to tour and go to festivals and competitions. Our mock trial teams have been recognized at the county, even the state level. Our CTE courses as well have opportunities to travel to national, even international competitions. They've won international competitions. And then, of course, our athletics teams, every year they bring home championships of one kind or another, from everything from local to state championships. And again, we just bring this up because we believe that it's really great for students to experience that kind of recognition. You're used to being recognized, we hope by your teachers, by even your school, but high school, it's great to have those opportunities that be recognized by the much wider community as well. Okay, so lastly, we just want to make sure that parents are well aware of the opportunities that you have to get involved, both to help and to support and to participate, but also to lead in the district. Every school has a site council that meets with the principal, where parent input is part of our process and our planning. Every school also has a site bond committee where you can learn about current and upcoming work to modernize the campus, thanks to the bonds K and L that passed in 2022. Of course, every school has parent-teacher organizations and booster organizations where you can get involved in, event planning, but also, kind of strategy throughout the year. We want to make sure everyone knows about our English Learner Advisory Councils and the district-wide counterpart, that's ELAC and DLAC, where parents can provide a ton of input on the supports that we have for English learners. And we also, at the district level, have a number of advisory councils that parents can serve on, whether they're interested in sustainability, technology and the use of technology in classrooms, district wellness and student wellness. There's a number of different committees and boards that parents can serve on to be more connected and also to have a voice in matters at the district. Okay, so we also wanted to remind everyone, one, that you can always reach out to your school with questions. Your principals have graciously consented to have their emails put on here. But we also, all of our schools offer tours at different times throughout the year, or can set up tours for people who want to see something on campus or to shadow another student. And then we also wanted to make sure that everyone knows that we have scheduled the prospective parent nights for all of our high schools, and they're here. That is a great opportunity to get to know the campus, to talk to current students and to staff, and really just a place to ask any specific question that you have about your specific school, while just getting to know the campus and the campus culture at the same time. Okay, so that's all we have for my big information download about the things that you should be thinking about and looking at your school campuses. And with that, I think we'll move into more direct Q&A. And thanks everybody for listening while I exhaust myself.
Thank you so much, Sam, for going over that overview of our high school programs. I wanted to point out that Cindy Paris was in the audience, and I didn't see her when I was promoting panelists. So I want to welcome Cindy, who's the principal of ARC in Coast Genoa, to also share and answer questions this evening.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, I can answer questions regarding small schools, AFE, Coast Genoa, and ARC.
And so, yeah, there's a question about, will we be able to see the email of everybody who logged into this? Okay, and then in the district news also, I think that we'll send out, we can put an item saying, we gave this presentation, and we'll make sure that the slides are available. So I do see that a number of questions were asked and answered while I was talking. I do encourage folks to think of any questions you have. It's pretty rare that you have this group of people assembled, and between them can answer pretty much anything that's going on district-wide.
There's a specific question about a child that has challenges with dyslexia, but is really advanced in math and wants to know if Santa Cruz Excel block schedule would work for them. I think it'd be good to have a conversation with the team at Santa Cruz High School, either call Mr. Denning or Ms. Rodriguez, who's the assistant principal for counseling, to get a sense of what your child's specific needs are, so that they can make a recommendation for you. There's a question about community service requirements for high school students. The only community service requirement we have in the high school is tied to the seal of biliteracy. So if your child is pursuing the seal of biliteracy, they would need to do a certain number of hours of community service.
We also have although it's not a requirement, a lot of our clubs are based around community service things for environment or in our community, as well as our AVID programs do have community service components to them as well.
And all three of our high schools have AVID programs where students can become tutors in the AVID program or peer tutors in just the peer tutoring program.
I can answer a question about school safety. There's a question about coordination with law enforcement and during an emergency. And yes, we have really strong agreements and communication with law enforcement, and we have the same protocols and systems. Now, we learned a lot from the event that the person is referring to back in October of 23, where all law enforcement and emergency responders are using the same language as we are to communicate when there's an emergency.
Does somebody want to take that question on contract PE?
I'm happy to answer that. We do have contract PE, but it's really limited. Possibly when you had contract PE as an option 30 years ago, it might have been more open and anyone could do it. Now at the comprehensive high schools, it's really like if you have a serious ongoing illness or injury, or there's some other real challenge with doing the physical PE class, we can see that as an option. But it's not typically something that a student does. It's not something that anyone can just do.
There's a question about bike safety and when a student locks their bike up on campus, is it safe?
Yeah, I could answer that. At Santa Cruz High, we have a couple bike cages. We have one upper campus, one on the lower campus. We encourage our students to park their bikes in there, lock them, and then we lock the door and the gate. We also have a lot of on-campus bike parking as well. We've added that over the last 2 years with the increase of e-bikes and bike commuting in general, which we're in full support of. And so there's a lot of ways to keep the bikes safe at school in regards to the bike cages, and also a lot of parking around inside campus.
I'll just echo that. At SoCal, it's different vibe than downtown Santa Cruz. And so we don't have bike cages on campus, but we haven't had any issues with bikes. And I would say the issues with bikes that we have are probably the ones you see around town with wanting kids to be safe. So their bikes are safe on campus once they're parked. It's the driving around and trying to help kids make sure they wear their helmets and obey traffic rules and those sorts of things.
It's the same for Harbor High. And we just encourage students to always lock up their bikes. We have 2 cages at the top of our campus. We also have cameras on the cages as well, and we haven't had any issues. We're very minimal.
Yeah. There's a question about sports, and all 3 of our comprehensive high school principals sit on the league board of managers, and they oversee the league and how it operates. And there's a question about how competitive is it to get on sports teams, and how many students are try out versus how many make them? And do you have freshman teams or just JV and varsity?
Yeah, I can take a stab at that first. It's very competitive at all of our high schools, but we do for most sports offer a freshman, JV, and varsity, so there is a lot of opportunity for students to make a team, and it really depends on, of course, the sport itself, right? So, for example, girls flag football is the most popular sport, girls sport in the country at the moment. And I know that at all of our sites right now, we have varsity flag football the last 2 years. And we're going to be having JV teams as well next year because it's growing so much. Um, in regards to, say, volleyball, which is very popular in Santa Cruz as well, there can be up to 60 people try out for the team. But I know that we do have freshman, JV, and varsity teams as well. So again, it really depends on the team and the sport. It is competitive, but we do have a lot of opportunity for a lot of students to play.
And Casey, are there some sports where all students, like cross country or track, that there are no cuts?
Yeah, I think so. We offer so golf, girls and boys golf. Usually everybody stays on the team. We also cross country, yes, I would say is competitive, but still a lot of people are still on that team. Tennis as well. I would say girls and boys tennis. There are not that many cuts, if any. I know for our girls tennis team, there are no cuts this year. Um, yeah, I think so. So there's definitely opportunity. Swimming is a popular one at all of our schools as well. Um, so there's definitely opportunity to even try a sport, um, if that's something your student wants to do and get engaged.
There's a question about fulfilling the world language requirement through ASL at the community college, and we do offer a dual enrollment course with Cabrillo in ASL so that students can meet that requirement, and they could also do it through concurrent enrollment at the college. The dual enrollment class is actually offered on which campus has that right now?
It's been online since COVID, so it's not physical. It used to be at Harbor, but and it's best to do 2 ASL classes, depending on the university your student wants to do. Typically, it's like 2 classes in a language, and ASL does count. Some people have heard that, oh, 1 college class is equal to 2 high school classes, but there's just varying. It depends on your university, so 2's always better.
There are several new questions. One is about transgender policy with girls and boys sports. Mariah, do you want to talk to
I
the
was just say,
leagues?
I can answer that question. Santa Cruz City Schools is part of SECAL, which falls under CCS, which falls under CIF, which is the California Federation with Athletics. And we do allow transgender students to participate on the teams that they choose to participate on, and following those rules at this time.
And we have extensive supports for all kids in our schools. Really, we work to make sure that every child feels welcome, supported, with whatever their needs are. And our LGBTQ youth, we have support groups and systems and supports for them on our campuses. There's a question from a family that's transitioning out of homeschooling. What are factors that they should consider when deciding between the 3 main schools and the alternative programs?
I can answer that, Chris. One of the factors that I think that you need to consider for your student is if they're transitioning from homeschool into one of the comprehensive high schools or the alternative ed sector, is thinking about what your student would thrive in. what environment. Would they still want a smaller class size or a modified schedule, or are they looking for the comprehensive high school experience? So alternative ed obviously has shorter class times and smaller classes. Comprehensive high school has the typical range of classes with a larger population of students. That's typically what our homeschool and the students who are deciding whether comprehensive or alternative ed, those are typically the ideas that they've got in mind.
And I think too, what extracurricular activities are they interested in? What kinds of things are they wanting to pursue? And I think we have Sam has put together some really outstanding websites for each of our schools. So if you want to explore more, there's a lot available to you there to look at those options. So how will our incoming freshmen select their courses?
I can take that one. So all three of our comprehensive high schools do our counseling teams make visits over to our feeder middle schools. So for example, Santa Cruz High has a large majority of Mission Hill students, so they'll send their counselors to the site and work with students in signing up courses. The same for Harbor. We'll go to Branson 40 Middle School as well as Shoreline that are two feeders, and then SoCal will do the same. I'm not sure if you go to Shoreline, but I know you go to New Brighton as a major feeder school. And then we also, families that might be attending private schools or charter schools or things like that, we will sometimes do a parent night visit and invite students to attend that to enroll in courses, or we set up appointments in our counseling office so that families can come to us and meet with counselors to enroll in courses. And then later in the year, as a freshman, you'll do a 4-year planning course with student and parents are invited to attend and look at all of the courses that'll be offered over the 4 years to make a plan for your, as freshmen do that with their families and their counselors.
Are there any other questions? This isn't going to be your last opportunity. You can reach out to any one of us, but we are here and happy to answer them. Question about class sizes, particularly at SoCal. My child's coming from a private school where class size is 13 and the whole school is 250 students. Our class sizes for 9th grade, we work to keep smaller in English and mathematics for 9th graders coming into 9th grade math. If they're coming into advanced math, they might be a little bit bigger. We have a class size cap of 35 with the exception of PE and band and classes that may be bigger than that. But classes will range in size probably from about 20 to 30 typically.
Yeah, 20 to 30, depending on the class. And like you said, English and math in 9th grade are 25.
There's a question about an overview of our language programs.
Yeah, at Santa Cruz High, we have we offer Spanish and French, and we also offer AP classes for both of those.
At Harbor High, we're currently only offering Spanish, and we start with Spanish 1 all the way up to International Baccalaureate Spanish, as well as we have a Heritage Speakers program.
And at SoCal, it's the same as Harbor. We have Spanish with a Heritage Speaker program.
I'm going to call out that last question. Someone asked if students should attend the prospective parent days, and the answer was yes, they're encouraged to attend. So they get a chance to see campus too.
There's a great question about what happens if a child is falling behind in their classes. What's the communication with parents? As we know that teens aren't always forthcoming, and I can say they need us to be more involved the older they get. And we have a student information system that allows you to monitor their progress in their courses. You just need to sign up for a login. And you can, if you are currently in our district, you may have that. If you don't yet, we can support you in getting access to Infinite Campus, where you can monitor their progress and whether they have missing assignments or if they're struggling. And as Sam shared earlier, we have lots of ways to provide support. And we want to make those available and make sure that students get access to them.
I would say in addition to that, it's really great when teachers, or all of our teachers use Google Classroom, and they post assignments in there. And when they invite you to Google Classroom, I think most of our teachers, my daughter's teachers, invite parents. And so you can kind of track ongoing assignments, get a weekly update through that as well. It's really nice. It just comes right into your email.
Yeah, three of our staff members that are on this this webinar have high school students in our high schools. And I am the parent of 2 graduates of high school students in our high schools, and they had incredible experiences in Santa Cruz City Schools. And know that our other parents on the panel might be able to share as well.
Mine's in the office studying on the other side of my computer. It looks like her Spanish homework for Santa Cruz High freshman. Mm-hmm. Trying not to listen to our webinar.
Mine's in 6th grade, so I don't even need to know yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say
How do you
I have students, my own children attend Harbor, and I've been really happy all through Santa Cruz City Schools. And I will say that Sam and I are both alumni of Santa Cruz City Schools as well.
There's a question about scheduling a tour for each campus. You can communicate off any of the campus's websites to their guidance office and schedule a visit with guidance counselors in their department.
We also host tours for the middle schools. So for example, Brant's Fording Middle School will come to Harbor and have a chance for all the 8th grade class to do a tour at our school and meet our staff and meet other students leadership students and other students who chaperone them around the school and things like that. So there's a whole tour day set up, as well as we do have students who sometimes will spend a day or shadow in a classroom with another student to see what it's like. And I think all 3 high schools do that.
And again, the prospective parent nights in January at all 3 schools are a great opportunity to learn about all the programs, feel the energy at the schools, and also get a tour. So it's a great opportunity as well.
There's a question about taking Chinese at community college for credit. Students can concurrently enroll at the community college. They need to make that plan with the counselor. If it's a course that we already offer, that's typically not allowed, but we don't offer Chinese. So something that could be done through concurrent enrollment.
There's an interesting question about, and if anyone here does have a student who's gone from private into public, I'll let them speak up. I know that my daughter has made friends in middle school who were at private elementaries. It does make me think that it might be helpful for us to see if we have any families that would be willing to kind of like comment on, what they wish they'd known, or sort of how they could make that smoother, that transition coming into a new cohort.
I don't have that experience personally, but I do have a couple of really good friends who have brought their students from private to comprehensive high school. And one thing that I've really noticed is to be involved. So really encourage students, even though it feels big, to attend, for example, freshman orientation, because right away you get to meet small cohorts of kids. And also to join clubs and to go out for the different activities and things that we have, because that gives students not only the opportunity to meet kids in classes, but in smaller settings, because it is a large school. All 3 high schools are, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. But it's a great opportunity, clubs, sports, those types of things, because you're around 10, 20 other kids who are interested in some of the same things. And that really helps. I also know that several students that have been in private schools or charter schools who are coming, for example, to Harbor, have been students who have shadowed. And we have great students for them to shadow with throughout our school at different grade levels. And so we would connect them with somebody or things like that to do that.
Yeah, and I just want to echo everything Amariah just said. And even all of our schools have wonderful visual and performing art programs. So if your kid's like in band, if your kid wants to be an avid, we do have like it's smaller communities where you do get connected. And whether your kid's coming from private school or any school, really like getting them involved is one of the keys to success in high school, for sure.
There's a question about when 8th graders need to decide their high school. We're asking if you're not going to go to your neighborhood school, that you apply for an inter-district transfer or an intra-district transfer by the end of January, first week of February, because we need to plan staffing for all of our campuses.
And I want to make a plug for Soquel and Harbor. If you're not currently in our district, like you go to Soquel Elementary School District, you're a New Brighton student, or if you're a Shoreline student and you're in Live Oak, we really want you to decide sooner rather than later too, because we want to get your student the best schedule possible and have them in our system. And so that means registering with Infinite Campus in our district in end of January, beginning of February, so we can ensure the best courses for your student.
And registration will open up on January 1st. So you can register online.
They're on our district website under the parent tab. The first pull down piece you'll see is enrollment. And there's everything you need to know about enrolling, whether you're in our district already or not, or whether you're in our district but want to go to a different school within our district. And if that is the case, then you're advised to apply for your intra-district transfer first before completing your registration, so that you're going to know where your student's landing to complete the registration process. But that's all explained in detail on our website.
I want to thank everyone for coming this evening, and I want to thank everyone on our panel. We all love our school system. We're grateful for our community and incredible families. And I appreciate all of you making time this evening to come learn more about the programs that we have to offer high school students in the Santa Cruz community. And please feel free to reach out to any of us at any time. And we hope you have a great evening. Oh, wait, a couple questions. Really quick.
There's a question about an inter-district transfer from Pajaro Valley Unified in La Selva. Brenda, you could call the Student Services Office, and I'm happy to talk with you a bit about your inter-district transfer. We want to welcome families into our district and into our schools. So as long as there's space, which there most frequently is, you can go ahead and call the Student Services Office, look at our enrollment page, but I can have a chat with you if that's helpful.
Thank you again, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.